गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबको दोबारा स्वागत है। वणक्कम एंड सत श्री अकाल। आज हम पीक इनटू एवरीडे चाइना लेंगे, बहुत दिन के बाद ले रहा हूँ। एंड टुडेज टॉपिक इज चाइना इज इन अ ट्रैप ऑफ इट्स ओन मेकिंग। आई मस्ट पुट इट अक्रॉस टू यू, सबको बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये जो चाइना ने सबके साथ जाल बिछाया है, वो मेरे को लग रहा है आजकल कि वो अपना जाल में खुद फंस गया है। दिस कार्टून is taken from South China Morning Post, and this is based on an article in which they have said that look, whatever China does seems to be a trap. Either it's a trap for people who are coming in, want to put in their money, or for people going out, और अगर उनके प्राइवेट लोग बिजनेस करना चाहते हैं वो भी एक जाल में फंसे हुए हैं। और ये दर्शाता है कि they're all traps. Another, if you have to enter China through that door, you have to encounter traps. खैर, और इसी के बारे में अलग अलग भिन्न भिन्न पहलू से आज हम ये किस्सा देखेंगे। टुडे इन द पीक इनटू एवरीडे चाइना, I'll look at it in three parts. In the first, I will show you something which is hatke. In the second part, I will show you how they started looking at India these days. And of course, the third, हम देखेंगे कि चीन किस हद तक अपने जाल में फंसता जा रहा है। ठीक है ना? तो सबसे पहले ये देखिए, ये आर्टिकल निकला 2 दिन पहले। जब मैंने पहले इस आर्टिकल को देखा, मेरे को ना मेरा लाइट जला नहीं, और मैंने I didn't pay much attention to it. But suddenly I looked at it, hey, what is this article, and so I said, okay, let me have a closer look at it and dekhte hain. Then it says, night skies illuminate Southeast Asian economic shift towards China. So I said, yeah, what is this? Something struck, and I read this article. And so I just give you the headlines. He says, a study of artificial light clusters show the region's center of gravity moving northwest by an average 1.45 meters, 145 meters per day. That means the Chinese research team said 2011 to 2021 satellite data also revealed surge in brightness after financial crisis and pandemic. ठीक है, इसका मतलब कुछ है इसमें। So I said, okay, let me, I suddenly remembered I had read something somewhere and I started searching. Then I came across this article. Okay, and this article is in Foreign Affairs. It came in May. And what does this say? He says, how to spot an autocrat economic lies. And there in this article, he has measured lights कि रात के दिन जितना थ्रू सैटेलाइट्स, अगर एक देश में ज्यादा लाइट जलते हैं तो उसका उत्पन्न और जीडीपी ज्यादा है, अगर कम है तो कम है। इसने ये एनालिसिस किया है, और इसका एनालिसिस के मुताबिक, ये एक खास एनालिसिस है, इसके एनालिसिस के मुताबिक चाइना का जीडीपी उतना नहीं है जितना हम सब मानते हैं। इनफैक्ट ही पुट्स द जीडीपी एट अबाउट 10-11 trillion dollars, and it's just about 50%, could be about 50 to 57% of what they're actually claiming, based on the study of lights at night, right? Because unless you have your country working, you can't have lights. अंधकार में कोई जीडीपी तो होता नहीं है। गरीब देशों में तो वैसे भी होता नहीं है. So this is what I saw. Then I reread that article, ये जो पहले आपको दिखाया, और इसमें ये बता रहा है कि इस इलाके में पूरा लाइट ही लाइट है, इसीलिए चाइना जो है बढ़ रहा है और सब का खिंचाव चाइना की ओर जा रहा है. फिर मैंने कहा हाँ हो सकता है, तो ये भी अपना लाइट का तेरी जला रहा है. फिर अचानक अभी दोबारा मैंने इस दृश्य को देखा. ये मेरा मेरा खुद का बल्ब जल गया इसमें. ये बल्ब आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूं. ये देखिए फुल पिक्चर. ये है, बाएं आप देख सकते हो इंडिया, बीच में जो हम देख रहे हैं वो म्यांमार और वियतनाम, कंबोडिया, राइट. और राइट में आप चाइना देख सकते हो. वहां अगर आप देखोगे तो हांगकांग का आइलैंड भी दिख रहा है वगैरह, साउथ चाइना सी वगैरह वगैरह. ओके, अभी ये देखिए, ये जो ऑरेंज के अंदर गोल है वो इंडिया है, और जो ग्रीन के अंदर गोल है वो चाइना है ना. बिजली ज्यादा कहाँ है? वेयर इज द लाइट मोर, इन इंडिया और इन चाइना? इट इज देयर पिक्चर. मजे की बात है कि ये उनका पिक्चर है, और इस पिक्चर के आधार पर ये बोल रहे हैं कि एशियन के रीजन और साउथ एशिया से the economic gravity is going towards China. Why? Because there's night light illumination. And where is the illumination? In India. So whose GDP is more if you go by this metric? उनका खुद का जाल में खुद फंस गए ये. सो दैट इज वाई जो मैं हर वक्त बोलता रहता हूँ, चाइना से जो भी निकल के बाहर आता है ये सब इट्स ऑल क्वेश्चनेबल. डोंट बिलीव इट. Okay, yesterday also I said when General Narasimhan was talking to us about their initiatives and all that, you cannot believe what the Chinese tell us. Okay, so I've put a base of where their first web is. Okay, now let's shift to India, because GDP of India is more as per this their own light theory, right? Though it is not that much, but then let me go by what they have said. Let's go to India. इंडिया में उनका दिक्कत क्या है आजकल? दिक्कत यह है कि इंडिया और यूएस का डिफेंस टाइज ज्यादा बढ़ रहा है और बढ़ रहा है. तो किसको प्रॉब्लम है? यूएसए इज सॉर्टिंग आउट रशिया, बट एज फार एज इंडिया यूएसए इज कंसर्न, वी आर सॉर्टिंग आउट चाइना. और थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग. ये सही बोल रहा है, बिल्कुल सही बोल रहा है, क्योंकि थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग. और इट इज हाई टाइम कि चाइना रियलाइज दैट थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग. इंडिया वो पावर नहीं है जो 2 साल पहले था या 1 साल पहले था, और आगे का इंडिया एक अलग पावर होगा. इसके बारे में मैं 5 एपिसोड किया ऑन द ग्लोबल पावर मैट्रिक्स, और आगे भी जाके करता रहूंगा और आपको सबको बताऊंगा, क्योंकि वी नीड टू हैव सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस टू हैंडल दिस लायर. दूसरी बात, ये ग्लोबल टाइम्स का आर्टिकल है. ये बोलता है यूएस touts greater India cooperation into South China Sea, right, creating new risks to regional stability. ये इनके मुताबिक हमें उस जाल में फंसा रहे हैं. They're taking us into the South China Sea so that we get involved there. And इस आर्टिकल ग्लोबल टाइम्स में बोलता है कि अगर इंडिया आ गया तो इंडिया का क्या होगा, ये वो वगैरह वगैरह. भाई हम तो वी डोंट नीड यूएसए टू कम एंड मेक इंडिया एंड चाइना फाइट. भाई तुम खुद आके हमसे लड़ पड़े हो, हम तो छोड़ेंगे नहीं आपको सनम. अगर आपने वो यू मेड द मिस्टेक, वी वर क्वाइट. चाइना मेड द मिस्टेक ऑफ कमिंग एंड क्रॉसिंग द LAC. चाइना मेक द मिस्टेक ऑफ डूइंग गलवान. अभी हम आपको छोड़ेंगे नहीं। और ये बात हमारा फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने भी बता दिया और हम सब देशवासी बता रहे हैं। ये इम्पोर्टेंट किस लिए है? देखिए 62 के बाद ना काफी दिन तक हम भूल चुके थे वो 62 के दृश्य, सब कुछ दोकलम हुआ, कुछ याददाश्त ताजा हुआ। जब गलवान हो गया, पूरा याददाश्त हो गया 62 में इन्होंने क्या नाइंसाफी किया और क्या हरामखोरी किया, राइट, और कितने झूठ फैलाए। So everything is refreshed. The whole nation is refreshed. We don't need USA to come and say fight with China. China has given us this thing. हम तुम्हें छोड़ेंगे नहीं सनम। अब आपको पानी पिलाएंगे, आज नहीं तो कल। Okay, what else is happening on the India-China front? Right? Now, China's economic woes are well known. They are not giving stimulus. The stimulus क्यों नहीं दे रहे हैं? क्योंकि उनके इकोनॉमी अर्थव्यवस्था ठीक नहीं है। अगर वो ठीक नहीं है, उनके स्टॉक्स डाउन है, तो स्टॉक्स और वगैरह फंड्स वगैरह कहाँ जा रहे हैं? वो जापान, इंडिया और यूएस जा रहे हैं। तो क्वाड के अंदर जा रहे हैं, ये क्वाड कंट्रीज को पैसा दे रहे हैं। तो भाई डूबो, राइट? ओके, नेक्स्ट, ये इनका प्रॉब्लम है कि इंडिया इज क्रैकिंग डाउन ऑन चाइनीज फोन मेकर्स, राइट? और ये सबसे पहले स्टेप है इनके मुताबिक कि अगर हम इनका जो मोबाइल फोन का होल्ड ऑन इंडिया अगर हम तोड़ सकते हैं, हमारा खुद का इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट होगा। और इन्होंने, और ग्लोबल टाइम्स में भी ये आर्टिकल निकला है दैट चाइनीज कंपनीज विल फाइट इंडिया एंड इट्स कोर्ट्स, ये वो ऑल दैट। I just hope our government is smart enough to give them a kick and send them off. The faster we get these Chinese out of our country, the better off we are. Right? Okay. And of course, the next thing, this is a very interesting article actually, if you read it in detail. What it says, India's rise as world back office is in spotlight as service sector booms. There's no doubt there's a huge service sector booming, and अगर ये इंडिया यूएस डील सही हो गया और आईसेट जिस तरीके से होना है वो सही हो गया, तो there will be a huge boom. Okay, and जहां तक आईसेट, इंडिया यूएस डील वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह, I'm going to do a full analysis कि इसमें pitfalls क्या है, कैसे करना है वगैरह अगला हफ्ता। I'm going to do with General Satish Dua in great detail. In fact, yesterday I had gave a talk to the IDSA and I gave my ideas about how to leapfrog in defense procurement. वो मैंने tweet भी किया है, और ये मैं next week with Satish Dua I'm going to lay out and tell how can we make the Indo-US deal a success. देखिए आज तक सब बोल रहे हैं कि ये प्रॉब्लम है, ये वो नहीं देगा, ये नहीं देगा वगैरह वगैरह, पर मेरा मानना ये है कि दिस इज अ मोमेंट फॉर अस, वी हैव टू मेक इट अ सक्सेस। किस तरीके सक्सेस बनाना है हम बनाएंगे। व्हाट डज दिस आर्टिकल से? दिस आर्टिकल सेज, look, India has got a huge service sector, there's no doubt, and ours is a service oriented economy, right, which is very strong. A services oriented economy doesn't break like what China is having now. He says, while China has grown as a manufacturing economy, India has grown as a service economy. And he says that, look, many multinationals have put their research centers here and their facilitation centers here. Okay. Now, if that is the case, that's their problem. Okay. And he says he's attracting multinationals to put global capability centers here. And he says these global capability centers contribute up to 1% of GDP, which is huge. अब मानिए, अब जरा सोचिए why I brought this. You have always been known that you are a software power. You have always known that you have a huge service sector. You are always known as the back office of the world. Now, if you put some manufacturing into it, where will it take you? You see the multiplication effect which will happen. तभी मैं बोलता हूँ हमारे खुद के ऊपर हमारे कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए। हमारा देश को कोई रोक नहीं सकता, और ये बार बार मैं चाइना के बारे में क्यों बता रहा हूँ, वहां मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का प्रॉब्लम है, खुद बोल रहे हैं इस आर्टिकल में। अगर वहां प्रॉब्लम है तो यहाँ तो आएगा ही आएगा। अगर थोड़ा बहुत आ भी गया तो इट विल मल्टीप्लाई विद दिस ग्लोबल सेंटर्स व्हिच most multinationals are putting up research centers and this thing, and now with this abhi aap dekho, see the multiplication factor with the Indo US deal, फिर आपका इंडिया के बारे में सोच विचार ही बदली हो जाएगा। इनफैक्ट कल मैं कर रहा हूँ reactions of India and China on the Indo US deal, not reactions of Pakistan and China on the Indo US deal। कल अपडेट में आई है, उसमें आई विल डू अ लिटिल मोर एनालिसिस, बट मेन एनालिसिस हाउ टू मेक इट नेक्स्ट वीक। ओके, राइट नाउ the Global Times of all people comes out with this article, how Indian media fabricates think tanks, journalists to share एंटी इंडिया एंड एंटी पाकिस्तान न्यूज। वो भाई पाकिस्तान को भी लेके आए हैं ये साथ साथ। वो आपका पिल्ला है ना, बड़े कुत्ते का छोटा कुत्ता, चाइना पाकिस्तान, और वो साथ साथ खैर वो कोरिया को भी लेके नहीं आए हैं। अगले बार एक कार्टून भी दिखाऊंगा, राइट? एनीवे, सो this is the kind of a thing they're coming out with. They feel that we are fabricating stories about, and our think tanks are doing it. I'll be very proud the day our think tanks can do this, because this is something which we have not done enough. We have not, uh, pinned China down enough. Okay, now let's turn to the internal problems in China. हम सुनते आए हैं पिछले 2 महीने से, मैं बोल रहा हूँ 2-3 महीने से, चाइना प्राइवेट सेक्टर स्ट्रगलिंग, इसमें दो राय नहीं है। सब बोल रहे हैं प्राइवेट सेक्टर को कैसे ठीक बनाए। यूथ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट has hit a new high. Investment from private business has fallen in China. Foreign direct investment has dropped. Industrial output has slowed down. And contraction in the land sales revenue of local governments is prominent. And this is important because क्योंकि ये जो लोकल गवर्नमेंट्स का आमदनी ज्यादातर ये उनका लैंड बेचने के लिए ही है। ये क्यों, मैं थोड़ा समझाता हूँ। चाइना में जो है लैंड किसी का नहीं है, वो गवर्नमेंट का है। तो लोकल गवर्नमेंट क्या करते हैं, ये लोकल बिल्डर्स को बेचते हैं या लोकल किसी को भी देते हैं जो अपना इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। लैंड राइट्स आर गिवन, लैंड ओनरशिप इज नॉट गिवन टू एनीवन इन चाइना। अगर ये लैंड सेल्स टू ऑल दिस बिल्डर्स एंड पब्लिक कंजम्पशन यूनिट्स नहीं हुआ, इनका आमदनी नहीं है। अगर आमदनी नहीं है तो इनको टप है। अगर प्रॉपर्टी एक्टिविटी नहीं हुआ तो इनको मुनाफा नहीं आता। इनको ये जितने टैक्स लगते हैं ऑन ऑल फैक्ट्रीज एंड ऑल दैट नहीं होता, और लोकल फैक्ट्रीज का आउटपुट कहीं नहीं जाता। सो लैंड सेल्स इज क्रिटिकल टू लोकल गवर्नमेंट्स, और वो हो नहीं रहा इनका, राइट? वो कंट्रैक्शन है, कम हो रहा है वो। ओके, एंड इनफ्लोज इन एफडीआई ड्रॉप बाय 5.6% इन द फर्स्ट 5 months अप टू मे। इन्वेस्टमेंट इन प्रॉपर्टीज फॉलन, ये तो लगातार गिरता जा रहा है। एंड गोल्डमैन सैक्स एंड यूबिस हैज कट चाइना ग्रोथ फोरकास्ट। पहले उन्होंने 5.6 बोला था, उसके बाद अभी 5.1 पे आ गए, और चाइना में ये सोच है कि ये दिस विल गो फर्दर डाउन। Okay, then what do you say? He says, 4 reasons why India won't overtake China as the world's agricultural commodity hub anytime soon. क्यों ये बोलते हैं कि इंडिया में स्लो ग्रोथ होगा, वेजिटेरियंस हैं तो मीट प्रोड्यूस वगैरह नहीं होता, अर्बनाइजेशन लो है ज्यादातर हमारा, ये प्रोटेक्शनिज्म है, ये कुछ अनाप शनाप सा लॉजिक है। बट ये दिखाना चाहते हैं, नीचे दिखाना चाहते हैं इंडिया को, और ये दिखाना चाहते हैं उनका खुद ज्यादा हो रहा है। और सबको पता है जी जिनपिंग हर रोज, हर दूसरा दिन वो हर गांव और हर शहर में जाके बोलता है फूड सिक्योरिटी, फूड सिक्योरिटी, फूड सिक्योरिटी। So they are getting trapped in their own stories, right? That's the thing. And okay, what else is happening in China? Have a look. Their economic recovery struggles as manufacturing activity contracts in third straight month in June. So if their manufacturing activity is contracting, factories are closing, right? And there's a demand somewhere else, right? That demand and that has to go somewhere else. So whatever Vietnam capacity there or Indonesia and all these are small countries, they are finished out. Now they have to come to India. The big players have to come to India. Samsung has already come, Apple has come, Dell is coming. Slowly others will come. And once these guys like Google and Amazon and all increase their and Microsoft increase their footprint through the Indo-US deal, you'll see many others following. So it's a matter of time. Okay, right. Then what does he says? This is about the property. He says China home sales require more easing to escape current malaise. So malaise to hai, or the government is not able to help them, right? Prices rose in June but are still well below 2022 level. कुछ हरकत हुआ है ऊपर पर ज्यादा नहीं है. Overall, the property sector is still down. Okay. Then you say China's state financial sector braces for one of the toughest years. This again goes back to that first slide which I showed you, जाल. ठीक है ये मैं I'll explain to you what this is. The financial sector in China is under severe scrutiny for frauds. They are being investigated. A lot of bankers have disappeared. Their number two chap 2 months back, I remember in one of these episodes I said वो तो गायब ही हो गया, उसको निकाल दिया और उसका वो करप्शन के लिए बेच दिया, वो जाल अपना अपना बिछा दिया. अब वो फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर कहीं नहीं हिल रहा है. अगर फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर इनका हिलेगा नहीं तो क्या होगा, इनका हालत क्या होगा. इनका इनका पूरा जीडीपी वीडीपी फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर से तो चलता है. अगर फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर ही नहीं चला तो ये कुकिंग कैसे करेंगे, इनका ये गलत फिगर्स वगैरह कैसे करेंगे. ये वैसे भी चाइनीज माहिर हैं इस मामले में, राइट. तो ये प्रॉब्लम शुरू होगा. ओके, सो यही है फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर में दे गोइंग थ्रू द टफेस्ट पीरियड. इनको सब डर है अंदर आजकल कि भाई अगर मैं फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर में कुछ चाल चलाऊं तो मैं फंस जाऊंगा और जेल में जाना पड़ेगा. सो ये प्रॉब्लम है उनको. ओके, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, राइट. मजे की बात है, दिस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, दे आर बैक टू इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. चाइना इज बैक, going back to infrastructure. They don't have a choice. 43% of the Chinese economy is infrastructure, big tech, and property. That is in pain. And if that is taken off, they have problems. If that goes ahead, they have problems because they have excess infrastructure. आबादी घट रहा है, घर काफी हो गए, वैसे भी खाली पड़े हैं, वो क्या करेंगे. कल भी मैंने ये बताया, इफ यू डिग अ डिच, एक खड्डा खोदो और उसको वापस भरो, और जो खड्डा खोदने वाला है उसको आप पैसा दो और भरने वाले को भी पैसा दो, तो ये जीडीपी के हिसाब में आ जाएगा. चाइना में भी यही हो रहा है. ये घर बना रहे हैं, कोई नहीं है, आपने जीडीपी तो कर दिया पर वो जीडीपी किस काम का, इट्स डेड जीडीपी. So it's whatever they're going to invest in infrastructure is going to be dead infrastructure. It's going to be waste. There's no return of income. Same problem they're having in Belt and Road, right? There's no return of income. Okay, so these are the problems, and then they have a major problem coming up, and that is deflation. किसी इकोनॉमिस्ट से पूछ लीजिए, अगर आप बोलोगे कि भाई डिफ्लेशन हो रहा है, वो डरेगा कि भाई deflation is a deflation is a horror word in economics, right? And deflation is happening, and this again is from South China Morning Post. I'll take you closer and read it out. He says China has not gone through an economic downturn in the past. The central government has not experienced these challenges before. The mindset for the running the economy is still more or less stuck in the past. ये बोलते हैं ना, it is often said that most generals fight the next war based on yesterday's tactics. The Chinese are running their economy based on yesterday's indicators. The ground has shifted. If they don't change their track, they're going to get stuck. And they're not experienced deflation ever from 1972. They only experienced inflation and double digit growth. Now, for the first time, they're experiencing deflation, which is not coming out fully. You come out. In fact, I've heard ये जो deflation का कहानी पिछले 2 महीने में 4-5 आर्टिकल में आ गया और इस आर्टिकल में तो खास करके आया और क्या बोलता है ये देखते हैं ये बोलता है fall in consumption is real and widespread. Downward drift across all price categories from cars to clothing to restaurants and leisure. सब घाटे में जा रहा है. अगर आपके पास बिक्री नहीं हो रहा तो आप सस्ते में बेचोगे तो डिफ्लेशन है. सेल लगा के बेचना पड़ेगा. Right? Lack of confidence about job prospects and worry at the back of many minds about preparing for a rainy day. इसलिए वो consumption भी नहीं हो रहा उधर. So there's a major problem within China which we have to understand. Then, of course, this is the master. A lot of their millionaires are leaving, and this has started about 6-7 months back. And this is the latest article just this month. Again, let's have a closer look at what he says. He says China's millionaires keep leaving, but outflows may be more damaging than usual. इसका मतलब वो सिर्फ they have come to the edge. See, money can go out of a country, doesn't matter. But people, if they go out of the country, right? The guys, these are the people जो पैसा बनाते हैं. अमीर लोग जो हैं वो पैसा बनाते हैं देश के लिए. खुद के लिए तो बनाते हैं पर जब वो अमीर लोग इस आके बनाते हैं उस इलाके में तो वो आमदनी भी होगा देश के लिए और वहाँ लोगों को वो एम्प्लॉय भी करेंगे उनको भी नौकरी मिलेगा कारोबार चलेगा पर अगर ये पैसा लेके किसी और देश में चले गए तो उस देश का फायदा होगा इधर तो टफ है तो ये दूसरा पहलू है पहला पहलू क्या है कि बहुत चाइनीज कंपनीज ये पहले भी मैंने बताया चाइना से उन्होंने अपना बंद कर दिया ये दूसरे देश में जा रहे हैं दूसरे देश में फिनिश करके वहां से बेच रहे हैं चाइना का क्या सिस्टम है ये यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस China doesn't have raw material and it is not an original producer of goods, right? From what it has, it imports. Once it imports, it makes items, integrates items, and then exports. That's the cycle of China. But आजकल वो साइकिल ब्रेक डाउन हो गया पिछले में और मैंने बताया इंपोर्ट्स डाउन है एक्सपोर्ट्स डाउन है क्यों एक तो रिच पीपल आर लिविंग उनको पैसा लेके कहीं और जा रहे हैं कारोबार बंद करके दूसरी बात यह है कि lot of factories are closing down in China and they're going to Vietnam, they're going to Cambodia, they're going to Laos. They're putting their factories up there. So the imports come to that country, exports go from that country. Nothing comes into China. So they're getting a double whammy. All these things added together are going to create problems. Okay, you have to do this backward integration. 3 दिन पहले मैंने डॉक्टर क्रिस्टीना चेन से बात किया था सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स इन चाइना आप सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स इन चाइना और इनका जो इकोनॉमिक प्रॉब्लम्स उनको आप जोड़ दीजिए उसके बाद रशिया वगैरह के बारे में जो भी हो रहा है उसको जोड़ दीजिए जो दृश्य निकल आ रहा है इट्स नॉट अ वेरी हैप्पी पिक्चर फॉर चाइना हमें पता होना चाहिए कि इनको किस तरीके से निपटना है इस हालत में ये बोलते रहेंगे कम्युनिस्ट का नारा है सब कुछ बोलने के लिए राइट ओके ये पेम्बा शेयरिंग है ये इज द सीक्योंग ऑफ द सेंट्रल टिबेटन अथॉरिटी यानी दलाई लामा का जो पूरा ग्रुप है सेंट्रल टिबेटन अथॉरिटी उनका जो प्रेसिडेंट है ये सीक्योंग बोला जाता है ही इज द फंक्शनल हेड ऑफ देयर गवर्नमेंट इन एक्साइल तो ये जनाब गए थे ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जाके इन्होंने इन अ प्लेस ही स्पोक एंड व्हेन ही स्पोक देयर ही सेड अगर चाइना में डाउनफॉल होगा इकोनॉमिकली डाउन जाएगा तो ये लड़ाई करेंगे इसका मानना है ये एक अच्छा वीडियो है अगर आप देखेंगे तो सी इट्स देयर ऑन द यूट्यूब ही स्पोक वेरी वेल एंड he feels that if there's an economic downturn in China and their indicators go down, they'll go to war. So why am I putting this? This is his opinion, and I respect that opinion, and that's what I have also always been saying. If China, goes down, and it has to, and it will start externalizing, we have to be careful. And where will he go? They'll go. I've always said it is India and Taiwan. When I spoke 3 दिन पहले with Dr. Christina Chen, उनका भी यही राय था कि either with India or Taiwan. कहीं भी आप चले जाओ तो इंडिया और ताइवान के साथ मिलिट्री प्रॉब्लम्स होने वाला है, राइट? सो वी हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड. ठीक है ना? तो ये हुआ आज का पूरा पीक इनटू एवरीडे चाइना, शॉर्ट एंड स्वीट. So I'll now take on questions, right, from the top. Okay. Dictator. He says, sir, do you think the SCMP might be misdirection strategy by China? Many China critical articles are coming these days. देखिए, आप जो बोल रहे हो, to some extent you're right. I have no doubt about it. You have to see very carefully. SCMP is their portal in which they invite outside viewpoints. They want to get a feedback as to how people think. If you see SCMP, you find 3 तरीके का आर्टिकल. लेट मी एक्सप्लेन टू यू. एक आर्टिकल है वो जो चाइना बेस्ड और जो SCMP के कोर चाइनीज journalists who write their opinion pieces, right? If you see, they are pro-communist. They give the communist line of thought. The second lot of articles which come are agency articles. They lift from Reuters or Agency Paris or TASS or outside and put the articles there to give everyone, their own people, an outside view of what is happening. The third kind of articles is they invite people from outside China to write. Some Indians also write. In fact, Commodore Uday Bhaskar का मैं देखता रहता हूँ कभी कभी. एक बिमान मुखर्जी है इंडिया का, वो लिखता रहता है. And a few others, some Andy Mukherjee or someone, I don't remember, who writes about India in those. So क्या है कि कभी कोई टर्किश लिखता है, कोई फिलिपिनो लिखता है, कोई भी अमेरिकन्स भी लिखते हैं. So they invite others to write so that they get a view of what everyone else thinks. And when it is written on them, they feel they get a balanced view about it. And they choose people who are oriented to them or who are enamored by their money which they give. They must be giving money. So you find these 3 kind of articles. It is up to you to pick up what you want. So when I pick up something, okay, let me explain to you further why I use South China Morning Post. South China Morning Post is also sounding board for their government. So when they talk about property, when they talk about job losses, all that, it is also telling the government. It's a feedback loop to the government कि क्या हो रहा है. But if you read Global Times in China Daily का तो मेरे पास ऐप है इधर, right? I have an app of China Daily here. But I don't, if you see that, it is all sheer propaganda. Xi Jinping वहां गया, उनसे मिला, हम ऐसे कर रहे हैं, ये इनॉग्रेट हो रहा है. That's all. China Daily is pure this thing. Global Times is again propaganda, political propaganda. This is just a megaphone, China Daily. So Xinhua gives news, right? But again, nothing against, because they're doctored news. So you get a fair idea of what everything is happening is in South China Morning Post, provided you keep reading it regularly. I've been reading South China Morning Post from ever. एक बार मैं आर्टिकल को देखता हूँ, मेरे को फट पता चल जाता है कि ये क्या बोलने वाला है और इसके अंदर कौन है. मैं इनका जो लिखने वाला है उनको भी पहचानता हूँ. So I know who's written what and what his thinking is. So I pick only those articles which I feel are, not this thing. You'll have to give it to my judgment. Okay. So I hope I've answered your question. Uh, या इंडिया ज्यादा ब्राइट लग रहा है भाई कार्तिक, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है, इंडिया ब्राइट लग रहा है और ये बात मैंने नहीं बोला और मेरा दृश्य नहीं है, ये तो उनका दृश्य है और वो उनका आर्टिकल है, ये देखिए दोबारा इन्होंने खुद बोला है, मैंने थोड़ी ना बोला है। और मैंने तो नहीं कहा सैटेलाइट पिक्चर। आई हैव शोन यू द आर्टिकल, हैव अ लुक एट इट, एंड आई हैव शोन यू दैट अदर आर्टिकल आल्सो। ये जो आर्टिकल है ये भी पढ़िए, हाउ टू स्पॉट एन ऑटोक्रेट्स इकोनॉमिक लाइफ इन चाइना एंड एल्सवेयर, फॉरगेट द नंबर्स, लुक एट द लाइट्स, हैव अ लुक एट इट। आई मीन as simple as that, right? See, this is another way of seeing where the other chap is and where you are, right? Okay, from the illumination we can interpret that there is a more equitable distribution of wealth in India and enormous concentration of wealth and with few individuals. Can this? Yeah, I agree with you. We are a better off society. We are more a balanced society than China. And what you said is right. There you see the lights only along the coast. Internal sub dila hai. Right. I think that's a very interesting observation you made, Vishnathan. Right. And Viro Ravi Oli. Namaskaram Priya Shankar Guru. Namaskaram Mekuda. Get all your friends, get them onto the channel. I would like some more new heads, right? Concentration of wealth with few individuals in China. Yes, in China there are very few, but the best part is they've all been divested of their wealth. Jack Ma was supposed to be one of the richest individuals. तो उसका पूरा पैसा निकाल दिया. They have given it to, they made it into a state corporation virtually. And what is Jack Ma doing? He's teaching teachers in some remote place in China in one of those dark areas. The youth are angling more towards unskilled menial labor instead of skilled jobs, and many are engaging in Bailan as well. How will both these affect China in the near and further future? The other thing, if you remember, Shritik, Dr. Christina Chen explained all this, that the youth are dissatisfied. In fact, Xi Jinping is pushing them into going to work hard in the fields, and they've got graduate degrees and all. They are not able to. They've never done this. They are urbanized. See, it's like this: a person who's urbanized is a misfit in the rural area. He can't go and dig, in the farm. He can't do farming. So, if once a kid has got a degree, etc., and he's gone to do work, in the cities, he's a misfit outside, and they don't have jobs. So this Bailan, Tangping, all this is going to create problems for them, right? It appears that China growth is concentrated about its rivers basins and coastal areas. Yeah, that's right. There's no doubt about it. कार्तिक देवेंद्रन, चाइना से जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडिया में से आ रहा है, क्यों हम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से रिलेटेड एनवायरमेंटल चैलेंजेस को फेस करने के लिए क्या हम एनवायरमेंटल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से रिलेटेड एनवायरमेंटल चैलेंजेस को फेस करने के लिए प्रिपेयर या इक्विप्ड है? मेरे ख्याल में नहीं है, हम तैयार नहीं है टू हैंडल प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ मेकिंग टू मनी दिस थिंग. So this is going to take time, and we have to be very careful about this whole thing. Okay. Do you think China has the advantage to USA with infra diplomacy and non-interference in internal politics of global South nation, attraction of socialism for poor nation, and how to quell this advantage? Urmila, that this was thought to be an advantage. ये सोचा गया था कि because they don't interfere in the nations, they just give money and do whatever they want, their problems. Today, China has realized that they have to interfere politically. And this is an analysis which was carried out based on whatever has happened, the Middle East deal, but problems in Zambia, Angola, Sri Lanka and all. A lot of people are now saying that China has got into problems. And China itself has realized that it has gone into problems by not taking a correct stock of the politics of that place. They find that they've gone in, they've invested based on the without bothering about the politics. Governments have changed and that their investments have gone bad. So there is a problem. So their model is not great and they are not getting the influence which they want. Some places they've got, some places they have not got. And in fact, in some places it's a write-off. Okay. You can keep holding a debt to Pakistan and Sri Lanka. They can never repay back. Okay. And they are not going to go back. So there are problems, right? Uh, so from the illumination, it can also be interpreted there is a more equitable distribution of wealth in India. Yeah, and concentration of lot of wealth with few individuals in China. I agree with you completely. This is a fact which is logical and which is also proven. Okay, ask Chote Kutte kya Bada Kutta. General sir doing comedy tonight, wondering how for a long time how do you make such funny nice cartoons of Xi Jinping for your videos. Well, you search the net, you can get what shall I say, cartoons. उसके बाद cut paste करो and videos बनाओ. As simple as that. That's as simple. I mean, I'm not an original. I'm a cut paste artist as far as this is concerned. Though Chinese communists themselves believe about their propaganda, they do. They're completely brainwashed about it. Okay, look at our communists. Why go that far? Look at our communists. Communism is something which makes you think like that. So that's how it is. Jai Hind Tarun, right. I have heard some economists say that our true GDP adjusted purchasing parity could be about 6 trillion. Yeah, I think so. If you go to PPP thing, you're much better. I'll give you an example. And there's a fact which I've experienced. You go to USA, a loaf of bread is about uh, anything between $5 to $7, which is in Indian terms, how much is it? $5 to $7 is anything between 400 to 500 or 600 rupees. In India, a loaf of bread is 50 rupees, 60 rupees. The best bread you'll get for 60, 65 rupees. Okay, you say that bread is bigger, the quality is better. Yeah, whoa. So you two breads in India is equal to one bread in USA. That's still about 120 rupees. So if it is 120 rupees, where is 120 rupees and where is 400 to 500 rupees for the same price of bread or the same bread? So in that way, who's better off? For people, life is cheaper, and this I can tell you with authority because I bought bread there in India both, so I know it. Okay, Ritika Devi was unhappy with us yesterday, so let me explain. Uh, right, GDP of India is 3.7 trillion and GDP of China is 20 trillion. First and foremost, it is not. GDP of China is not 20 trillion. GDP of China is 20 trillion is what China says. And like I said, that lights thing, the autocrat lies, he says it's only 11 trillion. Someone says it's only 16 trillion. Someone it says 13 trillion. So it's a variable figure. Okay. China is a manufacturing giant and we are nowhere in manufacturing. Yes, I agree. Even they say so. Right? Our whole economy is consumer based and depend on service, not industry export based. I agree with you completely. But okay, I don't know whether I can pull that article out. But if you see the article, uh, today China is trying to become a consumer industry, which we are not, which they are not, and they're not able to do it. They've come to that place where the manufacturing can't grow. So if their manufacturing can't grow and they can't consume, their economy is going down. That's what is happening. And in fact, their manufacturing is retarding. And the Chinese are not consuming. Whereas we are a consuming economy. We are a service-oriented economy. So if in this service-oriented economy and the consumer economy, if you inject manufacturing, your economy will just go somewhere. It will start shooting up. One. Number two, the 20 trillion is a fake figure. I don't believe it at all. Yeah, 3 years back it was 14 trillion. How can it go up to 20 trillion in 3 years? And especially when their growth rates have been meager, about 2 to 3%. That to inflated growth rates and dead GDP. That I've told you, dead GDP is quite a bit, right? So don't go by GDP figure alone. But even if you go by GDP figure, if you go to PPP, you will find that you're what Vishwanathan said earlier. You're far better. And in any case, GDP was only a figure. The GDP is a Chinese fixation. Cross comprehensive national figure is their invention. I've done a program on comprehensive national figure. What are the metrics of the comprehensive national figure? Does anyone know it? No one knows it. Okay. These metrics are all manipulated to show China in the best light. Okay. So whatever comes out of China, their metrics, their everything, you have to see it with jaundiced eyes. If you take whatever comes out, then you'll it's like this. Okay. It is important that China should be weak, I believe. Uh, if we study things, we can give the yeah. Look, there's a difference between economy and military thing to handle them militarily. If economies have to win, how is Ukraine fighting with Russia? How did Taliban win against USA? How did Vietnam win against USA? How did uh, Vietnam sort out क्या बोलते हैं उसको China? So there's a difference. They're thinking that earlier that because you have a great economic power, you'll be great on military. No, it's not there. Forget it. Ritika Devi won't give up. Okay, our economy is liberal capitalism like US and Western countries, and China economy is state-led capitalism like Vietnam. Hence, both industrialized. Hey, yeah, Ritika, just get off it, right? If you are believing only what they have to give out, please go ahead and believe it. But that economy is not going anywhere. State-led infrastructure, debt-fueled economy is reached its dead end. It has no more where to go. But whereas you have a lot of space, and China is like a shooting star. It has shot and it has fallen down, and it will fall down because the number of people are going down. As simple as that. Okay. Please don't go by Western parameters. India is the largest economy in the world. The Indian rupee is very strong. An Indian family has more savings than an. I agree with you completely, Partha. I mean, let me give you my personal example. In India, I'm a king. As a retired general, with whatever the government is giving me, whatever pension I'm getting, whatever my needs are, whatever my everything, I'm a king. With the same amount, if I go to America, वो है ना हिंदी में बोलते हैं राजा और रंक रंक बन जाऊंगा मैं I'll be a laborer as simple as that I cannot afford to be there our economy is fundamentally strong why our people are strong it is not that our governments are strong unfortunately in India we've been always having very weak governments and not very great governments that we've had great governments in patches and many governments have worked greatly in patches. Okay. So, but despite that, India has grown. And I think I did mention, I'll make a short video one of these days and why India's growth cannot be stopped. Okay. I think I'll do it and one of these I'll think. I'm very convinced that nothing will not go out. Thank you for your detailed answer, General. Yeah, it's okay. I have no problem. Ritika Devi won't give up. Our basic economic system has problem. Under labor, yeah, I think you need to change. Either you need to change or you are from China. One of the two is what I can make out. Okay. Uh, yeah, India must make a proper group where practical strategists, those who actually face them and plan how to go. Yeah, we do that. Don't worry. Jack Ma is traveling to Nepal. Any comments? Yeah, he'll go and teach. What will he do there in Nepal? He'll go and see the sights and get back. Sir, you should visit China yourself. Yeah, I visited China from the Tibet side. China is our biggest enemy. Hence, we should be practical and not for. Look, Ritika, I don't fall for Western propaganda. I don't know who you are, but believe you me, I have been to the all ends of our country, not to south, east to west. I've gone through a lot of things in this country, and I've seen a lot of things in this country, and I've seen this country change. Uh, you are deluded. I'll be very clear with you. Okay, you don't know your country, so don't talk. And if I have to keep answering what you have to keep saying repeatedly, uh, I'll stop answering your questions. As simple as that. You have to understand what I'm saying. We're not talking logic. Okay. If you see from the Second World War onwards, Japan and Germany were completely destroyed. It was America which rescued them and started the Marshall Plan, and MacArthur started something like a Marshall Plan for uh, Japan, and the economy was revived. And they've had an unopposed, unaided, fully aided economy with a complete peace dividend for over 75 years. And they've grown. From 1972, China has had a complete aided economy and it has grown. And from 79 onwards, after the last war with Vietnam, they've had complete peace dividend. China could not have grown the way it has grown without the help from the West. They've grown. Oh, incidentally, for those of you who don't know, uh, I did my first thesis on China in 2000. Okay, so I know what I'm talking, and I number of books I've read about China and handled China is too much. Now look at India. India has had 5, 6 wars. We've had huge natural disruptions. We've had an opposed economy. We were under tremendous sanctions. The Americans put us under MTCR. They put us under all kinds of sanctions, and even today they threaten us with sanctions. And despite this, we have grown. And we have grown from a stage where we didn't know what was coming into our country after 91. You people don't know the time in this country where we were living from ship to mouth. A shipload of food used to come off and it used to be fed directly to the mouths. Nothing in between. We've gone through famines. You've not gone through famines. I've gone through it. I've gone through relief in famines where people didn't have water to drink. So if Ritika Devi thinks that I am talking by delusion and all, I think she is deluded. And if you feel so, don't subscribe to my channel. I have no problem with it. Learn, right? I don't base my thing on any Western writing. I write my own. And that is why I base all my analysis more on the Chinese writing. Okay, right. Yeah, you're a knowledgeable person. You need more. That's okay. They'll keep coming, Rabindra. They'll come. I started my channel only 3 months back. Within 3 months, I've got about 11,000 subscribers. The people will come. Please do more shows with Jaipur Dialogues. Lallan Top and look, I don't like to go out and do. Earlier, I used to do that, but I am very choosy. I'll do with Sanjay Dikshit on Jaipur Dialogues once in a while. I'm going to do with Tag TV on 25th. A few. Unless people come to me, I don't go, and I don't even go on TV. Right? People will come. Don't worry. People will slowly come. Right. Sir, can the population in China be around 800 to 80 to 100 crores based on the illumination picture? Your thoughts? Ah, okay, Vishnathan. Next week, I am going to do a program on the demographics of China and an analysis on the demographics of China. And this, I am getting interns from the Chennai Center of China Studies to do. They're going to do this analysis of the demographics and everything. So most of your questions will be answered then. Wait, We're going to have it on 11th. I'd like to compliment you on your videos on China. I watched a good number of them and have come away with a far better understanding of this country and no longer feel apprehensive. Yeah, I agree with you. Unless you handle them, look, I've handled the worst of the Chinese across the border. I've seen them at close quarters, how they behave, everything. And human behavior is something you come to know under stress. And these Chinese chaps under severe stress on the border, okay, and they're weak. Unless they have a gun pointed behind their head, they don't perform. And they're all single children, and they cry, and they come to join the army to get a degree and get jobs and all outside. Because in China, if you leave the army after 2 years of service, you a lot of things open up. Otherwise, they won't come. So when you see those people under those circumstances, you get an idea of what China is. And of course, I've been part of think tanks. I've dealt with China. Incidentally, I've hosted Chinese delegations. In fact, I've had a one-to-one with the Chinese, with the PLA Vice Chief of Army Staff. It can not get higher. So don't think I don't know China. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Again, same thing. I think she is deluded. Yeah. RP. RP is also same thing. Yeah. Right. So more nations are willing to join BRICS, which is a hint that world is moving away from the present global order and inches to Chinese one. Modi ji warned that world would do face coercive and lawless. Okay, it's world order. Look, everyone is hedging their bets. Even we are hedging our bets. Okay, we are not necessarily going towards Western-led world order. We are hedging their bets, our bets, right? So we should, if more countries join, it doesn't mean they're moving away. They're creating their own alternatives. Okay, I expect better. Yeah, you're not. I will give you complete this thing, but the way you speak and when you say I'm delusion, it is bad manners. So I will give it back to you. I'm an army man. I'm not going to take it lying down. Okay. I don't mind disagreement, but unless you know how to talk and unless you know how to project your point of view, you'll get it back in the same point of view. So don't worry. People, yeah, I agree with you. So that's a fact. I feel that our knowledge and yeah, it will. There's no doubt. Next, sir, do you think due to us getting closer to US will trigger another clash on our border, especially if the international? No, I don't think so. China is in no position to undertake major operations against India. There will be should put actions, yes, but nothing more. Uh, what is the way out to engage the Chinese people, ordinary public? See, it's very difficult to engage with the Chinese people because they have a lot of restrictions in talking to us. They can exploit us, we can't exploit them back, and we cannot reach out to them. That's a problem which we have to face and we have to live with, right? It's one of those things, right? With this, I think we've come to the end of the questions. Uh, Thanks a lot. Uh, I try and answer every question, unlike many other channels which don't. I've been to many other channels. I see how they handle it. I have no problem. I'm repeating. I have no problem in disagreement. But put it across well. Don't think I'm deluded. That's bad. Okay. Disagreement is great. Okay. I have no issue. We'll logically talk it out. Just and give me that thing about my experience. I can also skip all your questions and go and ignore you. And if I find that thing coming in where a person is trying to be a bit, ideal and arrogant, I'll ignore you. Be rest assured. Yeah. With this, thanks a lot. I've had a nice time interacting with all of you, and some questions which have come are very good, and I'm enriched. Thanks. Good evening and Jai Hind.